everybody! I am here today with my beautiful friend, Teresa. I am doing a new series for you guys, and it's sort of a get ready with me type of video, but it is a get ready with me style swap. So I am taking all of my beautiful friends from their current style to my style. I'm going to be doing everybody over, or making everybody over in sort of vintage styles of different genres. So they're not all becoming the same person, but they are all going to be some sort of Cherry Dollface creation. Blah, blah, blah. I'm Franken Cherry. I like it. So anyways, so I will show you their original style. I will do the whole get ready with me video, and then at the end you can see what I turn them into. Are you excited?
I'm very excited.
Yay! Alright, let's do this. Okay, so to start with, I am spraying her entire head with a heat protectant spray before I start to curl, and then I'm just going to brush it through to make sure it is evenly distributed. And then I'm going to bring her part over even farther. She has a pretty far part, but I want it really far for that dramatic look. Then I'm going to part her hair piece by piece and curl it piece by piece, just curling downwards, and I'm wrapping the hair around the curling iron to give those pretty vintage waves. She has a very extreme asymmetrical haircut. As you can see, the front parts are way longer than the back parts, so the back parts aren't going to have as extreme of a wave as the front parts, but that's okay because we're just working with the type of hair that she has, which is the point of this project. So once you get the curls off of the iron, I'm just rolling it up, keeping its shape, and pinning it. I didn't do this with the under parts of the hair because, like I said, they're so short, it doesn't really matter. They're going to be covered by the top parts of the hair anyways, but you definitely want to do it with the top parts and the front of the hair. If your hair is longer, you should also do this with the back of the hair and the under parts of the hair as well. So now I'm starting with makeup, and I'm just using a foundation primer. All of the products I use are in the description box below with links. It's much easier than putting them on the video, so if you want to know anything I use, check down there. Now I'm using my beauty blender with her foundation, and she actually only uses a CC cream or a BB cream, so this is a very light application, but I'm just showing you that you don't need a super heavy foundation to have pretty pinup makeup. So I'm just covering her entire face with this stuff. Using my beauty blender, you can avoid the eye area. You don't really need it there, because I'm using concealer around her eyes. So I'm using concealer on her lids and also underneath both of her eyes, and this is going to brighten up her eyes, and it will also make her eyeshadow last longer. The underneath the eye trick is great if you have under eye circles. You definitely want to be putting concealer under here. She has amazing skin, so she doesn't really need it, but we're putting it there anyways just to brighten up her eyes. Then I am going to set that with a translucent powder, and just make sure that you set the whole face and also underneath the eyes. If you don't set your concealer under your eyes, it's going to crease and be a mess, so set that for sure. So now I'm just going to use some blush, and I'm just using a really dark pink color, and then I'm going to start with the eyeshadow. I'm just applying a bright white underneath her eyebrow arch, and then also on the inner corner of both eyes, and this is going to brighten up her eyes. I'm not doing it super heavy though, because I want this to still be a smoky eye, so I don't want too much white. So I'm using this lighter purple color to cover her entire lower lid except the very inner corner where I put that white, because you want to keep that bright. And I'm just making sure that I blend it really well before I add the darker color in the crease. I'm doing this with a different brush, and this is just going to give that sort of like smoky cat eye look. Just make sure you blend both colors into each other really well. Now I am starting on her eyebrows, and I'm just using a brow wax, brow pomade, and I'm just going to accentuate her natural brow shape. She has amazing eyebrows, so I'm not doing too much with them except thickening them up a little bit because they are a little bit sparse. So I'm just sort of filling in the shape, make sure I keep that nice high arch in there, and then also pulling them out on the ends a little bit more than she has them naturally. And now comes the dreaded liquid liner. I'm just using a potted gel liner with a brush for this, and I'm making it a nice thick line because I really want to sort of accentuate that smoky eye, and she has good eyelid space to do this. If you have small eyes, I would avoid doing too thick because you won't see it, but she has great eyelids, and I'm just winging it out just a little bit, not too much of a wing. I want the focus of this eye to be on that smoky shadow and not as much on the big thick eyeliner. Now I am applying mascara to her lids, actually to her lashes, not to her lids. That would be insane. And then I'm going to apply fake eyelashes on top, and these are just pretty super winged vintage style eyelashes, and I'm just going to apply them to both eyes. Now I'm doing her lipstick, and I'm going to start with a lip liner, and I'm going to fill in her entire mouth with this lip liner. It is a shade that pretty much matches the lipstick. I'm doing this a little bit more of a dark vampy color versus a bright red because I want it to be, well, dark and vampy. Now with my lip brush, I am filling in her lips with that matching lipstick, and this is just Rimmel lipstick, nothing crazy expensive. Same thing with the lip liner. You don't need expensive products for them to work well. Expensive products are fun, but you don't need them all the time. Just make sure you get a nice sharp lip line around your lips. Now back to the hair. I'm taking out her pin curls, and just make sure you take them out all in the same direction, and then I'm using a styling wax to smooth the top layers so that there's none of those flyaways. You want this style to be very smooth and very shiny. She has virgin hair, which means it hasn't been colored, so it is very healthy, which is great. Then I'm going to take my little comb and I'm just going to brush down through the sections, and as I brush them, I'm going to pin the waves back and forth so it sort of sets those waves into place while I'm doing the rest of the hair, and it will help the waves from being pulled out when I'm brushing the bottoms. So I'm just brushing the bottom sections all together, and then I'm also going to pin those into place. And like I said, she has this asymmetrical cut, so this bottom part I'm just going to tease up a little bit and sort of fold it under and then pin it in place. So now I'm basically doing the same thing in the back layers, and I'm giving the under layers a little bit of a tease so that they all sort of lay together and curl under. This is especially important if you do have short hair in the back to get it all to lay there. And then I'm going to give it just a little spray to set while I do this little pin under. And then once the hairspray is dry, you can take those pins out, take them out very, very carefully. And here is her before look. We've got pretty sweet style, and then here is her after. Hooray! She's a very glamorous sort of 1940s vamp. She's got a little fascinator on, some little wingtip spectator shoes, and here's her face before and face after, and here's the hair in the back. Hopefully you guys like this. Definitely subscribe for more of these style swaps. Thank you for watching.